Here we go. Did you get a good blur?
That was me saying hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome aboard. Kim was saying, did you get a good blur? She thought I was doing the picture that everybody sees, but I'd already done that. So, welcome aboard, everyone, on this Monday, July the 20th, 2020.
Still waiting for the
line. I don't even know what century it is, so I suggest more coffee. So, welcome back for a second round of Beneath or Below the Surface. And I was scrapping. See, my words aren't here yet. I'm here, but my words are still trying to catch up. I was scratching my head trying to come up with an approach for second kick at it. And I have a few ideas, so I'm gonna, strangely, they're more superficial, just with the idea of like layering some color and what is seen below, but we'll see where it goes. And I still have to get back and finish my other one from last week, with the one with the little strips. Hey, Jane, welcome aboard. Long time no see. And there's Kim. Excellent. My trusty right-hand girl.
That's me.
And let's back this up as far as the lights will allow, which is about that far, I think.
Hi, Gerda.
Hey, Gerda, welcome aboard. Yay.
For anybody who's new to this, why don't you just give a very brief description of what this is?
A brief description of what this is. So Virtual Collage Jam is a real-time opportunity to collage together in live, but also if you catch the recording after the fact as well. There's a theme every week. It's free. It's fun, hopefully, usually. And
there's a Facebook group.
There's a Facebook group that you can request to join and post your work, and people can do post lots of excellent images that they do during the week and as well during the jam. And everyone takes a look and comments and likes and talks. And so there's a really lively post-jam conversation online there, which I love. And I was just looking at some of the last week's collages, and as usual, it's tons of stunning work. So way to go, guys. And when we're live, you guys can, as you are, chat in the chat, and I will, my trusty right-hand girl, Kim Lee Ko, will relay your comments to me, and we can have sort of conversation while we work. So looking forward to it. I need to sort of get my act together a little bit. Oh, I wanted to show you that. So Kim had paints in this up until recently. And I said, I should get one of those for paper so that I can organize it by color. In fact, I'm missing one of my drawers. I just realized.
You want me to get it?
If you wouldn't mind,
yeah,
that would be great.
So
what I have done, and it's just, I've just sort of seeded at the very beginning. It is 8 drawers, and so that's kind of an odd number for perfect color wheel colors. Like 12 would be perfect. But what I've done is I have used the bottom 6 for primaries and secondaries. And so if it's close, it goes in. Like if it's a reddish, if it's a red orange or red violet, it goes in the red. And anything near orange goes in orange, etc. But the top 2 I have dedicated to 2 things that aren't color per se.
Such as this one.
Such as this one that Kim has just very nicely fetched for me. So this one is neutrals. So it's grays and gray. So it's black and white photography or things that are not juicy colors. They may, like for instance, there's a piece that has a bit of color in it, but it's not a lot of color. The color is low. I've thrown in some scrapbook pages, for instance, and my idea is to just pile stuff into it. someone was asking me about how do I organize my stuff, and I don't, which really had to change. So I'm really excited about this. And the other one is text, because I use text a lot. So anytime I find a really juicy bit of typography, or one of my longtime students, Diane, blanking on Diane's last name, of course, classic, gave me these, which are vintage things from it's like a ferry book, or a public transit book, and full of schedules and so on, from Paris in the early 20th century, I think. So that's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, early 1930s Paris. Sorry.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and
wow.
This is just leftover printouts of text from that from a collage I did online a while ago.
I might have to scan a few of those fairy things.
This is an envelope full of text, which I was looking for letters for the collage, for a collage header I was doing. So I thought, well, I'll just put that in there. And anytime there's a really nice bit of type, it'll go in there. So I'm excited to have any sort of semblance of order or being able to search something. So one of my ideas involves using color. So I thought, well, I'd bring this out and show you guys and use it too. So so I am sure I'm seeing lots of stuff there. So Kim, what have we got in comment land?
Well, let's first, who said hi? So you knew about Jane and Gerda.
Jane and Gerda, I said hi to.
Val is here.
Hey Val, welcome back.
Ricky's
welcome
here
aboard.
from Philadelphia.
Yay, Ricky. Yep, Ricky and I were emailing this morning.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Rena Gottesman popped in to say hi, but she has to leave early, so she just wanted to say
Wanted
hi.
to say hi. Hi, Rena.
It's
if
so
you're still here
nice.
with us, I hope you are. But yes, I understand, and you can always catch the replay, which I love. That means that, if you do have to if you have another commitment,
You don't have to miss
you don't
it.
have to miss it entirely, right?
Yeah.
You miss the dialogue, but not all of it, right? So yeah.
Sherry says, "Hey ho!"
Hey
from
Sherry.
Etobicoke.
Yay.
I like the rhyming there.
Yeah, that's fun. But then Cherry is fun.
Yes. And Françoise is here and says, "Nice to get together again."
Hey, Françoise, welcome aboard.
And Sherry thinks that drawer unit's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea.
She says it fits a lot more than her binder does.
Yes, it's actually quite capacious. I think it will actually hold 12 by 12 scrapbook paper and a bit more.
Yeah.
It's a bit longer. So there's a 12-inch ruler. So yeah, it's a little wider than 12. It looks like about almost 13, and it's probably
14.
on the square end of things. Yeah, a little over 14, which is pretty great, and it's
Yeah.
reasonably deep too. So
Without being too deep.
yeah,
I
like
hate-
if it's
there's so many-
this deep, you're not going to find anything, right?
Yeah.
And so, not all of the collage materials that I use are sorted by color, but I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have some sorted by color? For instance, I put plain colors in there, and that makes total sense. And I put magazine clippings. I think often, if I clip something, if I clipped a figure out, and then I had these chunks left, it's well, I could just bin them, or I could put the blue bit in the blue bit, and so on. So, and it's also a good thing there are always times when you don't feel particularly creative. So I could go through a few magazines or some piles of scraps and so on and sort them into this. And therefore they're in a place where I can find them to use them again. So just trying to claw some sort of semblance of order back into my life. So
Okay,
yeah.
more
comments. Yeah.
So Mira says, "Hi,
Hey,
family."
Mira.
That's nice, Mira.
Yeah.
Creative family.
Yeah, exactly.
Gerda mentions a book she's found, a 2020 book by
Right.
Sheila Chandra called "Organizing Your Creative Career." She ordered it today from Indiana.
Well, Kim and I need to be all over that like ants on jam. So
Yeah. Yeah, just add it to the pile.
Yep. The pile of organizational books.
No, just the pile of books.
Right.
Annie's here, and she
Hey, Annie.
says, "This is the best TV." Smile.
You know, lots of people talk to their televisions, but how often do they talk back, right?
Jane asks, "Where did you get the drawers?"
I
bought these at Dessert.
Yeah, so I think, and I found it
Michael's.
at Dessert as well.
Michael's
A few other places, yeah. Michael's, I think, may just be selling right now anyway. The a clear one, yeah.
Yeah, no color.
Same, the colors. As artists, color is pretty great, but.
I know the Dessert on Spadina had these drawers in their window. That's not where I bought them. I bought them in Oakville, but they had these drawers in their window for months.
Yeah,
because they make great display.
It's made by a company that's something like Really Smart Solutions or something like that.
Yeah.
Really useful products.
That's it.
Yeah. So Google that. Drawer unit, really useful products, and you'll be able to find it.
Yeah.
So a few places are out of it. Yeah.
That answers Ricky's question.
Right.
Is it by?
Yeah.
And Mia's here.
Hey, Mia, welcome back.
Hi, everyone. The shelves might be from Dessert. Really useful rainbow tower. 8 drawers, 7 liters. That's
Exactly.
the one, Mia.
Yeah.
You got
and
it.
I think the 7-liter might be smaller drawers than this.
Oh, yeah, there is one that has smaller drawers.
Yeah, and I think this is 9 or more liters. I'm not positive, but some of the because I was thinking that Kim would keep hers and I'd buy one. I started looking, and some listings mention how big the drawers are, and some don't, and so be careful of the ones that don't. I think they might be narrower drawers.
Yeah, and it's so annoying because, of course, if you're buying an organizing thing, what's more important than knowing how big the dimensions are, right?
Exactly.
Like outer and inner.
So I'm just going to get some colors out because I have a color-based idea for today.
Can I just say how happy it makes me that those drawers have made you so happy?
It's pretty. I'm pretty easy to please, but these drawers have me inordinately pleased.
Yeah, you're over the moon about it.
I am over the moon.
In your restrained, waspy sort of way.
My restrained what sort of way?
Waspy.
Waspy sort of way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not an Italian sort of way.
No,
right?
no. I am guilty as charged.
It's cute.
I'm blessed you think so. And so what are people thinking in terms of, are you taking another kick at Beneath the Surface? There are certainly a lot of great Beneath the Surface collages already posted. So, are you taking a different slant? Are you saying, I'm going to skip the prompt this time and do something on my own, or do something more surface-based, or a different read on Below the Surface? Let Kim know, and because I'm curious. This is the first time I've done a 2-week theme, so that's another thing that I'd be curious how you feel about that. Like, does it feel like, oh, same old, or does it feel like, oh, good, I can go deeper? That would be useful feedback as well.
Sherry says, I'm playing soccer with it.
Okay.
So I'm going to infer that she's really playing with it.
Now she's kicking around a few new ideas, obviously.
Jane says, doing Beneath the Surface of the Earth. If it comes out okay, question mark.
Right.
Well, you can't but try.
No, exactly. There's only one way to find out how it's going to come out, right?
Yeah, that's right.
This is so fun, pulling out these drawers and finding color in them.
Well, this is it. actually deeply satisfying that the drawer is the right color.
It totally is. When Kim had it full of all her Liquitex Basics paints, and you'd pull open the orange drawer and there'd be all these different oranges, and you'd pull open the red drawer and there'd be all these different reds. But she had like the red violets and the blue greens as well. And it was just like,
yeah,
there's something pathetically simple and wonderful about it being the right color in the right drawer, right? In the color
it's
drawer.
meaningful.
Yeah. Meaningful in a way only artists, like an engineer would be like, you know, and it's like, well,
certainly the engineers in my family
shows what your problem is.
who are
lovely
in
many other respects. Exactly. And of course, if the drawer doesn't fit, it's of no use, right?
Yeah.
I think so many creative endeavors, so many things that need to be brought into the world need both, right? They need
it's two kinds of design thinking.
Like, for instance, designing websites, for instance, right? I mean, and any number of things that have a utilitarian purpose as well. It's like, it can look great, but if it doesn't work, it's not useful.
Remember that coffee maker we had that we loved, but the coffee was never hot enough?
Right, yeah. We had it was an iconic design. It was in all the design books, the Braun coffee maker. And being German, they said, okay, this is the optimal temperature for coffee. So we're going to brew it at that particular, and it was like, that temperature is not hot enough for me. Right?
Yeah.
It's perfect for the engineer who did it, and being German, this is the right one.
That's right.
Everybody, this is the right one. You should be happy about this. It's like, and that's kind of one of the beefs I have with Apple too, right? Is like they do amazing stuff, and usually they're bang on, but every once in a while it's like, this is the way it is, and it's like, I want it to be different. No, this is the way we've decided.
That's right.
So. Yeah.
But it's a love relationship.
It is. Yes, exactly.
In both cases.
Yeah.
Annie has made a comment. She said she had a darker idea last week, so she'll try that one, but she's feeling happy today, so she might not be very productive.
You know what you could do is you could jot down the darker idea, because we do need to address darker things sometimes too. But if you're in a good mood, do something that is good moodish today, and just wait for when, I've spent too many years in my life sort of going against the grain, whether the grain is how I feel that day or what, like all those things, those shoulds, right? So art should be, most of the time anyway, I think you should go with what is suiting you on any given day. So,
or what supports you.
What supports you.
So
that's a good way of framing it.
One of the difficulties can be, if you're feeling dark, sometimes working on dark work just
deepens,
plummets you into a bit of despair.
Exactly.
So
it
can be good to be feeling robust.
Always with the good counterpoint. That's absolutely true. Because can you imagine just feeling dark and then working on dark work and going even into the abyss? So yeah. She
need to get some water. All right, back at my station.
All right. Comment girl is back.
No new comments. I think people are probably busy
making. Well, and that is where we like them to be. Slightly more than 11 inches. Let's go with 5.5 there.
Just for the benefit of anyone who's watching but not in the chat, it's totally fine if you just want to quietly watch or work away. But if you want to chat, you just need to sign into YouTube with your Gmail account, and then you'll be able to chat. And if you're a first timer at the virtual collage jam, or it's been quite a while, just pop in and say hi. That would be nice to hear from you.
Can you do me a favor and pull that light back just a little bit so I can push the...
I will do my best.
Or can it? If it can't, maybe not. Yeah, that's going to be better. Thank you.
Is that going to help?
That's going to be great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Okay, good. Excellent, excellent.
Good stuff. Val's made a comment here. Val says she's trying something different. She rarely works with figures, so she's going beneath the surface of people and how complicated we are.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And I, this morning, that was one of the ideas I was contemplating, let's put it that way. I jotted down some ideas on, because there's so much rides these days on superficialities, and they're just that, right? I mean, appearances and so on. So I was thinking about that, a similar thought, and I decided that it was more than my brain could handle. So good for you for going for it. Today is what I should say. Kind of like Annie, I sort of thought about it, but then decided, since walking and chewing gum is plenty of a challenge for me, that I should just go with something simpler today. And
Alice has arrived.
hey, Alice. And I'm sorry about your mom. My condolences.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I hope you can enjoy just a little and get a little reprieve from the heavy heart by doing a little making, getting a little artistic community.
Look at all the lovely colors. So much fun.
A little chromotherapy.
Yeah. Good for the soul.
Yeah. Oh, right. I was thinking, oh, I'm ending up with double what I need. And then I remembered, oh, right, I had 2 ideas. So that's good. I'm going to work it just fine.
That's good.
So, see. Okay. Orange next. It's looking like the 2. No, it's just substantial.
That's a lovely yellow.
Yeah, it's a
That's
lovely sort of
delicious.
what in the 70s they would have referred to as goldenrod.
Yeah.
But it is, that's nice, really warm, slightly off pure.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It is. Those light violets look very unexpected with the
Yeah, with the other
more
strong.
intense colors,
Yeah.
That's nice.
Wow, that paper tears incredibly straight. I was trying to curve it, and that's what it did. So I guess it has
a strong grain.
Yeah, and it has a strong idea of what it would like to be today. So we'll work with that. My glue sheet, I started scribbling ideas on it. So now it's got a sort of medium heavy corner. And then it's got some little bit of paint and some scribbled sign ideas. Because it was the nearest thing at hand, so.
Alice says she's working on the black and white collage from Thursday's class.
Ah, yes. So have I been, actually, Alice. Sometimes I just assign something and I don't have time or whatever to engage with it, but I've spent 2 or 3 hours on it so far, and I'm quite enjoying it. So I hope you are too.
Ricky says this prompt below the surface lends itself to 2 weeks, she thinks.
Oh, thank you, Ricky. Yeah, no, it is the kind that you could read so many different ways. So that's what, when someone suggested, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. So I'm glad you're finding that that's okay.
She says she's enjoying thinking about the many ways it can be thought about.
Yeah, good.
That's an idea with legs. A theme with legs. Looks like a bit of a Rothko right now.
Yeah, it does. It has that Rothko, very minimal kind of feel right now.
Françoise says she's working on Under the Skin.
Oh, nice.
She likes working on the same theme and pushing it further.
And you often do more than one anyway, any given week, right? Sometimes many times more than one, right?
Which is always
it's always great to see. Yeah.
Oh, what a delicate blush
Mm-hmm.
that color is. Wonderful.
I've been really enjoying working with, and I think it was Michael's before lockdown that we got this
Big package
big pad of paper. Yeah, and it's nice and substantial, and it comes in some nice juicy colors and some nice, of course now it's blasting out, nice, more delicate colors there. That's showing it a little better. I don't know why, but when for years I never used the grids on the cutting mats to measure things. Maybe I was like hyper precise, so I didn't trust it. But I did a fair bit of work at Nielsen the last few years, Nielsen Park Creative Center, doing like cutting paper for kids programs and so on. And I just realized it's great.
Enough with
yeah, and it's just like line it up and cut it, and
that's right.
Yeah.
Good paper trimmers are also great.
Yes.
For that. Ricky has a question.
Yeah, Ricky.
She wants to know what kind of paper you are using. Is it cardstock or construction paper or?
Oh, once in a while the magic works. Look at that. I just reached it out. So
it's probably one of the drawers.
This is what it is. I got it at Michael's. It is their I think that's one of their lines, Recollections, or it's a line they carry a lot.
Is it described as anything?
Yeah, so it's got a few things. So it's 65 pound, which means it's pretty substantial. For comparison, by comparison, the sort of paper you use in a photocopier is usually 20 or 22 pounds, so it's 3 times thicker than that. And it says acid and lignin free, which is unusual in any. That means it's a good paper for art. So. It will probably not discolor as easily. I don't know whether it will fade.
It depends. It depends on how they've colored the papers, but yeah, the paper won't degrade.
Yeah. So I don't know how well it will fade. Like color fades in light over time. Some more than others. So sometimes and red is quite what's called fugitive. It means it gets lightened, and we have some books on our shelf that used to have red spines, but because they have light coming in, they don't have red spines anymore. 10 years on. So I don't know how good it is in terms of that respect, but being acid and lignin free is definitely a step up from a lot of things used with collage. Especially if you're just like grabbing like magazines or stuff like that. I definitely would caution against using construction paper unless you're tucking it away again somewhere dark and safe, and even then. Construction paper is here for a good time, not a long time. I did some collage paper or construction paper collages many years ago. For our Christmas card as graphic designers, and I took a picture of it, and as soon as I took the picture, I thought, well, the original doesn't matter so much anymore because I've got what I need. But I went back and looked at them, and they're like, it's hard to tell what color they were, and they've been tucked away. So it doesn't stay the way it is for very long.
Yeah. So we used to buy an acid-free construction paper at an art supply store. Yeah, they don't carry it anymore. Yeah. But
there are some better versions. Like if you go to like Walmart or Michael's or whatever and get construction paper for kids, just be aware it's not going to be that great.
It's very temporary.
Yeah, very temporary. But if you go to an art store, you might be able to find like a higher quality construction paper that will last a bit longer.
This stuff's good.
Yeah, no, I love this. It's actually, I find the colors quite delicious.
That pale aqua is very nice.
Is that what this one is? Yeah.
It's very simpatico with my watch. See?
Yes. One thing that you'll notice is color is very what's called relative. So she was pointing at this one over here. Oh, they can see it. That one there. And I had the other half of it over here, and I was looking over there and over here, and it didn't look like the same color because this one has different colors around it, and this one does. So they actually look different. But then when I moved it over there, it's like, oh yeah, it's the same. Color is very influenced by what's around it, and how we perceive it actually is what it is.
Absolutely, as is value.
Yeah. Light and dark as well.
A lot of optical illusions depend on things like that.
Yeah. So there's an artist named Joseph Albers who did a bunch of paintings, squares within squares of different colors. But he also did something to show relativity. He had little chips of the same color in two very different contexts. And they're the same color, and you look at it and you swear, that is not that color. They're not the same. That one's darker, that one's more intense. And then when you fold the paper together to bring them, and oh yeah, they're the same, but that one's in a set with oranges around it, and this one's with blues around it, and they look like completely different colors. Yeah. Not completely different, but quite different. All right. I am going to go by value. Why not? That's what we'll do. Just for the fun of it, right?
Always good to play a game.
Oh, now this one is not.
Well, it's probably because of the direction of the grain. Like you're probably tearing in a different direction now.
Well, I cut them all in half, so that's it. No, that's fine. It makes it more interesting. Maybe it has something to do with the pigment too. Although that seems less likely, but less likely, but not impossible. Even this is just a simple decision, and it's not so simple. What is that? What's that about?
That's art.
That is art. That is art indeed. That should be. Oh no, that's it. Okay. And glue it.
I'd post an Instagram story. Jane asks, what's Cal working on? What's his sub-theme? Good questions all, Jane.
Yep. So I don't even have much of an idea right now, Jane. As soon as I got these couple of pieces glued down, I will show you as far as it's got and let you know. It's more of a color idea and less of a concept idea. Or a color concept, anyway. All right, Jane. So what I've got so far is sort of a lights and a dark. It's one with 3 colors and one with blue and black. And what I was thinking with these is that I would then glue this on top of 5 or 6 additional layers of intense colors. I'm not sure exactly what the sequence will be or anything. Like glue them just piled up, and then cut V notches through lines that sort of like a triangular gouge to hopefully reveal just little slivers of the color below in the lines that I cut into the sort of paper plywood. Is it going to work? I have no idea, but I'm going to give it a whirl. So next up is deciding which colors are going to go under. Lighter intense colors, probably underneath the dark one. Definitely red. And this blue. And maybe something light too. Light so that it's unexpected, not the top, obviously. There was like a light green that I haven't got out yet. Maybe that is the light green.
Yeah, that might be.
Oh, it's over there. I had it over there.
There we go.
I had it out anyway. Oh, well. Did I cut it yet? Okay. So that can be under there. And then under the pale one, some of the more dark colors, red obviously works as well, and I think that blue is good anyway, even though it's mid. Definitely the dark red. And purple, I think, could go under each of them.
Jane says, very clever. Like that idea. Feel like I'm boring with Under the Skin last week and Under the Earth this week.
Nonsense. Nonsense. I think we always look at someone else's idea and think, oh, that's because it doesn't necessarily come in our constellation of ideas and thoughts. We value it disproportionately. And other people look at our idea and think, oh, that's so great. So your ideas are great, Jane. I think one of the tricks for any artist is to look at other artists' work and be inspired or not, but there's always a fair bit of work out there that's inspiring to you without lapsing into the sort of comparison and sort of using it to beat yourself up about. And it's hard not to slip into that, but everyone's work is valid and everyone's work is their work, right? So you need to do the work that you need to do.
Mia's had to leave early because she's not feeling well today.
Oh, I'm sorry,
so
Mia.
she's going to lie down.
Yeah. Oh. Well, you can always catch the rest on the replay, Mia, so have a good lie down, and I totally get it. I hope you feel better soon.
All right, got Instagram stories. Collage down.
That is my little, the words are just not today, I'll tell you.
Don't worry. Your little wifey, is that what you're going to say?
My little social media wifey is what I was going to say, yeah. I couldn't come up with the word social media to save my life. Sometimes.
All right. I did like the way the previous order was the orange, navy, and then the violet. But I know you're doing it by value. So.
No, I'm not actually. I'm not.
Oh, yeah?
No. Orange, navy, then violet.
Yeah.
Right, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
Oh, that's good. I'm good with that.
I'm just responding.
Yeah. Trying to get an idea of what a little sliver of it would look like without being. It would even be a lot finer than that, but.
Slivers are so great, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Murderous to glue down. But...
I think a little sliver of something bright in there is good. It's between
the reds.
Yeah, between the reds. Is
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's singing now.
There we go. Okay, good enough.
Color magic. There's the name for a course for you.
Color magic.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cliche.
With magician Cal Honey.
A cliche television show.
It's not wrong though.
No.
You get the colors right.
Color is magic and totally.
You are a master color guy.
It's nice that she thinks so.
Well, I remember when you were a young designer.
I was petrified
and you were
of color.
afraid of color.
I was petrified of color. I took heart later when I read about Paul Klee, and Paul Klee, who is one of the most brilliant colorists, like just so beautiful. He made color so beautiful and alive and vibrant and magical and symphonic, all of those superlatives. And he, for the first while, he totally eschewed it. I think he just saw that it was, I guess he knew that he wanted it to be really good or something, but
that's the same with you.
Well, I
Your
don't know.
Perfectionism is why you were frightened of it.
Yeah.
You knew it was a big thorny problem.
It is, and it is a big thorny problem.
But now you have so many years of experience with it that it's.
I definitely used a lot of sort of relatively off the rack type color ideas. Like I'd happen upon something that I liked color wise and stick with it for quite a long time.
You had a signature palette. You had a red, you had a yellow, you had a teal, and you had a violet.
Yeah.
That you used.
Yeah.
Kind of dark blue violet. Which also happened to go with your early 90s colorful sneakers and winter jacket. And
I actually bought a women's jacket because it was so beautiful. It was all black, and but then it had very strong primaries plus green accents just on the collar, and very graphic, like buttons or little triangles or whatever at the cuffs and halfway down the arm, I think. And just these strong shots of color. And I also had some,
beautiful.
Yeah, and it was always too short. Like it was a bomber style, and it was barely, but it was worth it for the color.
Yeah. Said like a true colorist, see? When it matters that much to you. By the way, handsome shirt, dear.
Why, thank you. My darling wife got that for me when she was in
Ottawa. Was it?
Or
was it when I was on my road trip?
It was when in Vancouver.
Oh, yes, yes. Probably at the Vancouver Art Gallery.
Yeah, because they had it was an exhibition.
Of contemporary Indigenous Canadian art. It was amazing.
Did you get it the year that I also went out? I think you must have, because I think I saw that show. Yeah. So it was a great show.
I had 2 shows out in BC, and I went to set it up, and Cal went to tear it down. And I told him about the show at the Vancouver Art Gallery that was so great. Hi, Ruth.
Hey, Ruth. Now, is this Ruthie Ruth or Ruth
Yeah,
Lugendale?
it's Ruthie.
Okay.
And she said she's here because I posted on Instagram.
Oh, cool.
So, hey, the magic works.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. She says it's ruthless.
Okay, right. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. She's basically the 007 of Roots.
Yeah. Definitely needs green in there. So, Kim, any discussion topics that you want to raise today? Seeing as I'm word challenged today.
You're word challenged.
Sometimes you can't shut me up, and sometimes there's just...
Yeah, that's fine. Everybody has different rhythms. Well, I didn't write any blackout poetry to read today, so I did have something in mind earlier today. What was that? Oh, Sherry has a comment here. She says, I'm exploring the under-the-surface concept through more of a temporal lens, representing the past and present in one collage, like a temporal scratch card. I love it.
A temporal scratch card. Yeah, that's great.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, that is great. And Sherry, I know you're a big fan of the graffiti walls, right? With that series, and that's something you get there too, right? Is like if you peel back enough layers, you get this stuff that was pasted maybe 20 years ago or whatever, or sometimes you even have like when they used to paint the sides of buildings with advertising like that. That's been sort of worn away.
Decollage is sort of crying out to be used.
I actually thought about decollage, but I want to save it for its own day. So,
but she doesn't have to.
No,
she can do what she likes that way.
Exactly.
Slade says a movie, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, features an art form where the interior of a book is carved out, producing a magical 3-dimensional world that is revealed when the book is open.
Yes.
That plays on, from teaching the Altered Books course.
Yeah.
Plays on a wonderful form of altered book that totally suggests a film like that. I'm so glad to hear someone made something of it.
So can you jot down that film? Yeah,
I certainly will.
Is it available on any of the sort of conventional platforms? Oh, Kim will find it. Yeah, exactly.
On any of the ones we're on anyway. And love recommendations. So if anybody has, watching or reading recommendations, we're always interested in that.
And Slade, if you, I'm a big fan of artists who do that, and there's an artist named Ben Dinino, and it's DININO, and he does amazingly carved out books in that with that same sort of idea. So definitely worth checking out.
Saving that. Putting it somewhere useful. Annie says, I think we are all word challenged and quiet today. That's sweet.
Yeah. Working away reasonably quietly, companionably, right?
That's a nice thing about community.
Right,
or family, as Mira said.
Yes. Creative family.
Creative family. Best kind. Really.
The best, yeah, exactly, the best kind. Sometimes family is a loaded thing.
Yeah.
Well, and creative family can be too, but not so here.
Okay, it's not on Netflix.
When you next come up for a break, Mira, let us know what you're collaging on today.
Yeah, I'm sure her head's down and she's
Yeah, no, if I know Mira,
in...
she's probably on to the second collage now. Yeah, big cup of mate beside her.
Of course. Keep that energy up.
Yep.
Well, we had an exciting delivery today. We had parts for our barbecue arrive, so we're really looking
exciting.
forward to barbecuing. It's only, what, July 20th?
I like about a month ago, I went looking for the parts that we need, and this place in Winnipeg seems to have them, so, and other places didn't. So I ordered there, and then they emailed back a few days later saying, well, that part's not in stock and that part's not in stock, and we don't have any ETA on it and on the shipment, and with COVID everything's slow. And I said, all right, well, just whenever. So some of it arrived today, and hopefully the rest will arrive reasonably soon. We might be barbecuing by Labor Day if we're lucky.
So me, Earl, and the Dying Girl won the Grand Jury Prize and the Audience Award at the 2015 Sundance Film Festival.
Wow, that's no small feat. Well, thank you, Slade. That's really great to know.
Sure is.
Both Kim and I find looking at obviously any film or TV series that's well done is fair game, but we really enjoy learning about artists that way, either biographies of artists or art movies or movies about artists.
Yeah. So yes, I found places where we can rent it.
Oh, good. Yay.
You can rent films, buy or rent films from YouTube or on YouTube. But it's also available that either way from Prime.
Right. Everyone and their uncle is in content providing.
Yeah. Including us.
These days, yeah.
But artists are natural content providers.
Well, we're natural content creators and
creators,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Correct. what we do is content.
Yeah. One thing that's a little worrying about all of that is how much the providers make and how little the creators make.
Yeah.
So, but 'twas ever thus. But for instance, I love as a music person, I love Spotify because I can dial up whatever I want. But I've heard that the artists get a real pittance for, and yet they're the reason.
Even
it
if they
exists.
have millions of listens, like Taylor Swift revealed how little she made from, you know,
Spotify.
Yeah, from
Right.
like 170 million things, and she
Listens.
got literally a few $1,000s.
Wow.
Like, how many people are going to get 170 million or whatever?
And yeah, it's usurious. And as a musician, of course, you want to be on there because everyone wants you to be on there, and that's the way to be found and the way to be heard. But it's
Yeah, that's that thing of
Yeah.
do it for free for all
Die-
the exposure.
yeah.
You can die of exposure.
Yeah, an artist who said, "I'm tired of dying of exposure."
Yeah.
Like people tell me, "Oh, there's no money for it, but it'll be great exposure," right? Yeah.
Meanwhile, you find out all sorts of other people are getting paid. Like, they wouldn't say that to a lot of the caterers
Yeah.
or the venue. Oh, but it's so great. Your venue will get all this exposure. That's why it's nice to just do this, eh?
It is
Just away
nice.
from
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
You get to do it for your community, for
Yeah.
creating and building community. That is a really good reason. Sherry says, another collage explores under the surface of a social justice issue. I hope my visuals explain themselves better than I am right now. Welcome to the club,
Yeah.
Sherry.
Yeah.
The temporal, she adds, the temporal lens collage is an ode to Henry Enchin, and the social issue collage is a nod to Banksy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So for those of you who may not have seen it, Sherry posted a thing about Henry Enchin in the Collage Jam Facebook. And he's an artist photographer, I guess, who takes contemporary photographs in one place and having found an archival photograph of that same place in Toronto, like from that same angle, and does some Photoshop work that sort of where it goes from like 1920 to sort of blur into like last week. And so it's quite fascinating.
Fun.
You can see, oh, I know where that is. And then it's like, oh, so that's what it looked like then, you know? So it's quite,
Love that
yeah,
stuff.
it's neat. So, and Banksy is one of my gods. So in fact, probably pretty high up at the top, if not the top. Near
Gerda, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Gerda has a question. Why not glue all the larger colored sheets together first? We were gluing some things together.
So, okay, so it took me a minute. The reason I'm a bear of little brain. So I have cut them in half, and I'm making two pieces that are this size, which is basically 8.5 by 5.5. And so I wanted to sequence the sort of sandwich differently for each one. So this is the one that I'm almost done. And then this one, I haven't glued it yet, but you can see it's got a different sequence. So I cut each sheet in half, and then this has a slightly different palette than the other one, and definitely a different sequence. So, so that's why.
Valerie says there is a show called Brilliant Ideas about artists.
Ooh, that sounds great.
The show's called Brilliant Ideas,
yeah.
and it's about artists.
Okay.
So definitely we have to check. Val, do you mind sharing where that show can be found? Like, is it something you get on a Netflix, or is it a network show, or when you get a moment, because I know you may be in the middle of gluing stuff.
A show that we've really enjoyed, and I don't think we've seen very many of the episodes, but every one has been great, is called Abstract. And it's not about abstract art. It is about art and design, and probably more towards design, but it's fascinating. So they have interior designers, architects, illustrators, graphic designers, industrial designers, and all about their process, and it's really, really well done. It's filmed well. It's got fascinating insights.
Season 2 featured that genius woman at MIT who's exploring biology as the basis for technology. It's unreal.
Yeah,
except that it is real. Like,
yeah.
It will be revolutionary. Mira has posted, I am working on a never-ending collage. No gluing. These interchangeable pieces will allow me to create different themes, which I photograph. I posted a few already.
I've had that same thought, that if you take a good photograph, do you necessarily have to glue something down? Like, could you not just arrange it? Then, light it. If you really like it, light it, and maybe put a piece of glass on it, as Sherry would suggest.
Well, in some collage artists, what is shown is a print of a photograph of the collage, which allows them to change the scale.
That way, like, if you take a very high resolution photograph, instead of being the collage that is only as big as the paper allowed, whatever you're collaging, you can enlarge it significantly.
Yeah.
So that is one of many possible strategies for making collages much larger than they are when you make them by hand.
Also, some artists who work with collage don't like the raised surface.
Right, yes.
So that allows them to eliminate the
flatten
raised
it.
surface.
Yeah. And you could also play with, if you enjoy the way shadows play from maybe raised edges, you could light it just to get the amount of shadow that you wanted, and then photograph it that way. So, interesting idea. Yeah. It's funny. As designers, occasionally I would do like a little. We have no budget for any illustration, so I do a little illustration. Sometimes it would be a collage, but it would always be just like the original was the least important thing, as long as it was photographed or scanned or reproduced well enough, right? It might have whiteout all over it or whatever, but if it's scanned okay, then okay, we got a good clean photograph scan, and then the original is like pitched or put in a corner and never seen again until you look at it. Oh yeah, remember this? And then it's all bent up. But and art's kind of the opposite. Like, a reproduction is a lesser thing, and the original that the master has touched is the thing that everyone covets.
But culture changes. So.
Yeah, culture does change. I am a big fan of any art form that is accessible. I kind of like things that don't cost too much, that are either multiples or that can get into the hands of the people who want it, right? Without being like, oh, I can't afford that, you know? And I love this artist, but his cheapest or her cheapest thing is like thousands of dollars. Like, you know? And the gallery, the old gallery system worked on that, right? It's exclusivity, it's scarcity. That's the word I wanted. Whereas there have always been artists who sort of buck that trend. One of my favorites was Keith Haring, the graffiti artist in New York, 80s and 90s, I think just into the 90s. Yeah. And he tragically died of AIDS, but he tried to make work that figure out ways in which he could get his work into the hands of anyone who wanted it. You know, he sold expensive originals as well, but he like made pins and t-shirts and merchandising so that fans who loved what he did but couldn't afford originals had an option to engage with his work.
Yeah, which I always really admired about him. I seem to remember reading an article with him in the New York Times Magazine a long, long time ago about that. And at that time, that was considered some people condemned him as an artist because he did that. Whereas now, artist multiples are actually quite a thing, quite a popular thing. The Magic Gumball Machine of Fate project that's curated by Catherine Hurd and Redhead Gallery, where I am a member, has one of those machines. They're all over the city of Toronto, I should just mention, and also some locations outside of Toronto. That's all about artist multiples, but not just that. The price is $2. So the idea is to really remove the barrier to entry to almost anyone. And
when Kim and I heard that Redhead was going to take part in that, we were so excited because we love a design challenge, like okay, it comes in this plastic ball, so you have a small size. It's a design problem, and we love that. So it's what can fit in here that we can make economically that will still be really cool for someone. And then there were a few other people at Redhead who thought the same way, and interestingly they had design backgrounds as well. And some of the artists were like, but why would you do this? You know, they're used to like selling the $1,000, $3,000 painting, and they're like, but why would you?
Yeah, it just went outside of their understanding of what you would do. And some of them definitely came around.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, which meant that we got, which was great because some of them produced some really interesting projects, like really. Remember Elaine's little petri dishes with little paintings in them that looked like sculptures?
So Elaine Whittaker is what's called a sci artist, and she knows the science around. In fact, her work presaged the pandemic by many years because she's been dealing with disease and epidemics. That's the word I'm looking for.
Bacterial
and
cultures.
so she made a little work in a very tiny, probably the smallest possible actual plastic petri dish, and put that in. There was another artist who did image transfers on little chunks of drywall. Like it was like a 1 inch square by whatever drywall is 5/8 of an inch thick. Brilliant. So it was like this big chunk, and then it had this little image transfer.
That?
I think it was Terry Donovan, and
they were
images of, at least the one I got was a little chick, like a scrawny just born chick, and I thought it's great coming out of this plastic
that's probably
egg-like thing. Yeah.
Gerda says Brilliant Ideas is on the Business Channel on her regular TV.
Oh,
Okay,
the business channel. That's interesting.
fascinating.
Yeah.
And Annie says, yes, my daughter loves Keith Haring on everything wearable. T-shirts, hats, socks.
Yeah.
His work does not get old. I mean, just the energy of it and the, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. That reminds me too of Basquiat, who was his contemporary and in New York and also doing graffiti art. And one time Cal and I were somewhere out and about and standing next to someone, and Cal had his cap on, you know, with the bill, whatever that's called.
It's a baseball cap essentially, but it's gray.
A nice baseball
nice
cap.
One. And I have a pin that is Basquiat's little crown icon, or signature.
And then the man beside Cal had a baseball cap with the crown embroidered onto it. And there was a moment where they recognized what each other was wearing and laughed aloud. It was so cute.
I call it my Basky hat.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah, sorry.
I think
everyone's thinking now, I like the quiet better. I like the quiet better.
No, I think that by now they know what they're signing up for. They're taking that risk.
Yeah, they're still groaning though.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's their prerogative.
No, that's what I would do. So I feel like I'm making like cardboard, which I am.
It's almost like plywood.
It is. It's like paper plywood.
Remember Zach? I forget how to pronounce his last name. Zach's old gallery, which was one of our favorite, Peak Gallery, and he had one artist who was taking waste paper and turning it into lumber by laminating thousands and thousands of layers, and he had furniture made from this, and you could see that it was made from paper, but it was
that's great.
So strongly bonded.
And I'm not remembering that, but that's
well, and apparently she eventually gave it up because it was just so laborious.
Oh, was she? So she was actually like making it.
She was, she must have found some economies of labor, but
not enough.
Not enough. So she gave it up. It was a great idea. I'm sure the furniture was very heavy because you know how heavy paper is, and glue's very heavy. So that's why particle board's so heavy. That glue. So I think I missed part of your explanation of your idea. So I see that you've got, all these different layers.
So then
are you going to reveal?
I'm going to cut
V
notches into it to hopefully.
I think that'll be really exciting.
The color, what will be visible, I think will be very skinny, but I'm hoping it'll work. We'll see. We shall see.
Watching you apply the glue to this makes me think of the old days in graphic design when we used to have to wax our galleys to do paste up.
Yeah.
And I remember my first design studio that I owned by myself, I had a hand waxer.
Oh, right. It was like a thing that I remember
it was about
that.
This wide.
And you put in little pieces of wax
tablets
into
of wax,
yeah.
and it textured it too. And then I remember, the big waxers that cost the earth, of course, with really wide rollers, they were so pleasurable to use and so easy and quick. And I'm watching you like laboriously put the glue stick. What we need is like a nice wide waxer equivalent for glue stick.
Her saying that I can actually hear what it sounded like, because
I could smell it.
Yeah, so it was like a roller, and it had a stainless bed.
Yeah.
And it had a
With
pool of wax that you plugged it in, and it would heat this pool of wax that the roller would, and you'd feed in a piece of typesetting or whatever, yeah, and it would wax the back, and the wax would dry almost instantaneously because it was really thin, evenly applied. And then that's how you stuck things together, because you could also then peel it up to if you needed to move it.
You could even shift it slightly with
effort. Yeah. But yeah, I can hear it going and stopping as soon as you pulled the thing out. And yeah, there's a memory from.
Oh my god! I'd like to have one of those just for the.
And that went by the wayside after a few years after computers.
You know, when we were doing that, I had no idea that encaustic painting existed.
No, exactly.
And if I'd known then, I might have
saved it.
Sourced a used one when the studios started switching en masse to digital production. Because you could wax photographs or wax Japanese paper, and I don't know.
Yeah, and if you waxed an absorbent paper, the photographic stuff we were waxing wasn't absorbent, but you would get this sort of translucent effect.
Yeah, which would be beautiful. Ricky mentions there is Jean-Michel Basquiat. You beat me to it. Mira says, is a delicious technique. Yes, I think it would be. There's a lot of precision to it. Just the right temperature, just the right distribution of the wax. Something pleasurable about. There was something pleasurable about when graphic design had a lot of physical, tactile processes as part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're both old enough to remember the physical things, whereas a few years after that, everything was more or less digital. So it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, I made my career by going digital very early on. But, you know, when I set up my studio, I bought once I'd been in business for a year or two, I bought an antique drafting table, because you had to have a drafting table. Like, you couldn't do graphic design without a drafting table.
Yeah.
Annie, right? I had mentioned that Annie's daughter has excellent tastes, loving Keith Haring.
Right.
And she writes, she's the real artist in the family. She goes to Cothra for visual arts, but loves to do her own thing more than the courses. Well, Annie, just imagine if you'd had that opportunity, though, to go to an art school. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So.
And she got it from somewhere, and there's still life in the old girl yet. Don't forget. I mean, you're not exactly.
The old girl.
Yeah.
I apologize on behalf.
What I mean is, that was meant tongue in cheek, in that there's still plenty of time, right? And you're making all kinds of great stuff, I know, in the courses you're taking. So
just enjoy it and make.
Exactly.
And who knows what will happen.
That's kind of fun, isn't it? It's a little trimming off the side.
Oh, neat. So delicate. good when you rotate it so we get to see the colors better. Wow. That just sort of begs to be stuck in something, doesn't it? So I do a nice little poured panel and you can throw it into the wet medium.
Those of you guys who used to go or may still be going, because they're open again, to Nielsen Park Creative Center, may know Tony Calderone, or Calderoni. I'm not actually sure. I think it's Calderone. Anyway, she does the kids programs there. And whenever I would be cutting anything that had interesting little strips cut off of it, I would save them for her, because she always figures out some way to use them for the kids programs.
She figures out how to use just about anything in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, if she saw these, she'd say, "Oh, can I have those?" And I'm like, "I'm saving them for you, Tony."
Yeah, it's funny. Sherry writes, "I have an antique drafting table too. My godmother gave it to me 40 years ago when it was just vintage." Well, mine was antique. I bought it from an estate of a well-known designer who had an incredible collection of things like airplanes he was restoring and things like that. So he had all sorts of incredible stuff. I could afford the drafting table. And it was antique then, and that was 40 years ago. So
yeah.
So actually, we got our drafting tables about the same time, Sherry. And he says, "Ha ha, I am older, ha ha." Well,
you'd never know it.
Good for you for realizing there are no inherent limits to that. Well, very few anyway. Childbirth might be out of the question at this point, but
certain athletic endeavors,
yeah.
But
Olympic gymnastics is probably out.
You know, as long as your manual dexterity and your eyesight is decent.
Well,
even if it isn't, I mean, a lot of artists, you know, keep working until very late in life, and often the latest stuff, the later life stuff, is where they really, really hit stride. So,
I'm going to get to Gerda's comments, but since we're on this vein, Annie writes, "Asians don't raisin," which Naomi Campbell famously said, "Black don't crack." Now, of course, that's not true, but there is some truth. Like there are wrinkled Asians, there are wrinkled Black people, but it's like there's a subgroup that keeps remarkably smooth skin, and the hair stays dark longer, and all of that. So interesting genetics, anyway. Yeah, Annie, I'm sort of counting on that, but I'm a little worried because I feel like I'm watching my face do all kinds of alarming things now. Gerda says, this sounds amazing. "I have a mid-century modern drafting table in teak with drawers on one side that can move to the other side. Never seen another like it."
Wow.
That sounds like an extraordinary piece, Gerda. Wow. What a find. When did you find this drafting table? Like, have you had it for a long time, or did you get it more recently? So it does sound wonderful. We both love mid-century modern design. Not only that, but definitely including that. We have a couple of Danish chairs. Sherry says, "Let's post our workstations." That would be fantastic.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, anybody who feels like doing that, please do. I think most people are fascinated by artists' workspaces. I'm working on sorting and culling and reorganizing my studio spaces, and so I've been watching a lot of largely crafters studio organization videos because there are plenty of good ideas there. And it's amazing to see some of them they've been worked out to the everything literally has a little cubby, you know, every individual paper punch and marker, which is you know, a bit over the top for me. Ooh, is it V'd enough?
I'm getting a feel for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gerda says she got it about 15 years ago. She can't remember where in Toronto. She's been a smallish collector of mid-century modern. I've learned that buying beat-up pieces can be way too expensive to repair for use. Yes, unless you're repairing them as a hobby of yours, I bet you're right. We currently have one lovely chair that was Cal's parents that we either have to take to an upholsterer or I will have to find some free time in my life, which is an extremely difficult thing to do. Because as soon as I have free time, there are 159 things that want to occupy it. But to put new webbing and the whole bit. In fact, new cushions, because his parents were both smokers, so it would be nice to have virgin cushions, smoke-free cushions. Cal's cutting there is requiring tremendous control and pressure so that he can go through multiple layers at once. It's hard to make out the different colors. It's a
little hard to make out just because they're so fine.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. It's just one of those details you get to discover. Beautiful cuts, dear. I love that.
I was trying to decide whether there are any more needed.
We'll hold it up at a distance yourself and see if there's any, see if the rhythm is working or not, and is the white space working. You can always lay down a piece of.
That's a good idea right there. Test one of my offcuts. That's a great idea. See whether there's a place for something.
Gerda asks, can you go through to different colors? So he has cut through how many layers?
So I've gone through, I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish layers. In fact, there's a piece that I've cut out. I'll just try and get it right up to the camera so you can see. They're still sort of glued together. It doesn't show up so well even when I bring it up as much as I would like. The light doesn't get into it quite enough.
Yeah, and it's not high resolution enough, I find, on the YouTube. So you know what? We could shoot a little video of it from the good camera.
Yeah, we can do
and post it in the group.
Yeah, so I'll do some close-ups, either video or stills that will show it better, and post them. That's the thing to do, Kim.
Yeah. Jane says, so it's 3:30, and in fact now it's 3:35. And
Right.
all I've done is cut. So I'm about ready to glue, but must get my bike with flat tire to the bike store. Cal, it looks great. I'm signing off. See you next week.
All right. See you next week, Jane. Thanks for coming by. I can't believe it's already 3:30, but then that is the way things go.
Mira, it's not clear to Mira that you've cut it slanted because she's asking, have you tried to cut it slanted?
Yes, I have been. It's just that it is, I don't know, the top of the cut across the is about about 1/8 of an inch or a little wider. So
I'm thinking you would actually need a razor blade to cut it at a more oblique
angle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also I didn't even
Get a sharp blade.
should have changed the blade, which I will do.
But I do think a razor blade is what you need for something like this. Yeah.
Well, this is sort of like a proof of concept. I think it's worth trying some more of.
Definitely.
I'm gonna make one more cut.
You could also try double layers of each color.
I had that thought originally.
Each piece of paper is not very thick.
No.
It's actually very skinny. So even if you do a shallow cut, so a wide angle, you're not going to see much.
Yeah. I think that's...
Yes, Mira, it is cut slanted. But when the layers are very, very thin, even if it's cut slanted, you don't see it. The thicker the layers are, the more you see from a slanted cut.
I probably won't get too far along with this one, but I think with this one, I have a dark top and bright colors inside, so I think it might show a little bit more effectively on this one. We'll see. But first, I want to trim the edges.
Alice is leaving now. Have a good
All
day.
right.
And I'll
Thank
see
you,
on
Alice.
Thursday.
Yep. See you on Thursday. And we will wrap in a few minutes for sure. But if you have to cut out now, that's totally understood. And we'll see you next week.
And he says, thanks for another fun afternoon. See you tomorrow, LOL.
Right. We'll see you tomorrow morning, Annie.
Here, you can hold up that cut.
Yeah, so this one is showing up a little better just because it's
contrast.
It's higher contrast. It's not showing as many colors as there actually are, but you're getting at least a better sense of it. There's a green in there that's not showing up that well, but at least you get an idea. I'll try and show it obliquely so you can see that it is cut in. Nah, it's not showing that well.
No.
There, that you get a little better sense of the depth.
So we can take better
Yeah,
photos.
so I'll take better photographs and post those. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed doing a little more beneath the surface, and I look forward to seeing what you guys cook up. And any final thoughts from Kim?
Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Spending time with us and
Yep.
watching Cal do his thing while you do your thing. So have a good week.
Yeah, have a great week. And I know some of you I'll see tomorrow in Art from the Garden, and a few more on collage exploration. See, it's words. I have no words today.
And I'll see some of you on Friday.
Yeah, on Friday for her class. And feel free to, those of you who are looking for free options, there's also Kim's virtual
studio party,
which happens on Saturdays, same time slot, 2 to 3:30, on her YouTube channel, Kim Lee Co. So until next time, keep collaging, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, see ya.